Hello, everybody. Hi. My name is Ngozi, and I'm super excited to be here. I just want to quickly introduce the panelists. So, like she said, we are going to be discussing cultivating digital leadership. That's like skills that you need to succeed in the tech industry. And the people you're going to listen to are accomplished, wonderful women in the tech industry. And I urge you all to pay attention because they will be telling you, telling you how you can do things like how you can, take advantage of mentorship or go about mentorship, how you can learn about how communities work, right? All the skills that you need to be able to become a professional in the ecosystem and actually grow, right? So with no further ado, I'd like to welcome to the stage Sheon Babajide Duroshola. She is the country manager, marketing manager for ALX, the room in Nigeria. Also, with same energy, please welcome Koro Monesh. She is the chief brand officer at Jamit. And let's also welcome Adetutu Laditon. She is the senior product marketing manager at Google. It's Google. And let's welcome Ifeoma Nwobu. She's the COO of SenseTech. Please clap for them. Thank you so much. So we'll try and be brief because we know you guys have been here for a very long time. Hi, everyone. So I want to start with you, Ifeoma, right? You gained significant popularity as a model and a creative professional, right? And now you are the COO of a startup. I want to ask, was the pursuit of building a tech company, always a part of your long-term aspirations?
Hi everyone, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, cool. I know we're all eating and stuff, but just call and response because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that you're going here with a lot of value and a lot of things to just ponder on in your spare time. So I would really appreciate that there's a lot of attention that is here. Thank you very much. So to your question, Ngozi, I would say that looking back, I realized that it was part of the plan. It was never a conscious plan. It was never this is what I want to do specifically. But I remember when I was in university, in my first year in university, I always had the mindset of how when I finished from school, I just wasn't going to settle for whatever was given to me, right? Because we're in an environment where if there are not a lot of conscious decisions made for yourself, you would just stumble into different things. So I used to tell people then, even when I was very clueless and not knowing what I wanted to do next, I would just always say that, okay, I wanted to do something big. I wanted to create impact. I didn't know how that was going to play out. And so it just shows that the mindset is very important. Even before things start to manifest and happen, you just have to really have the biggest dream possible, right? Because life is like a funnel. If you aim for 500, life would most likely give you just 100. So you don't want to start at a really low number where you then get the lowest hanging fruit. So I would say that was the case for me. I never really knew exactly how that was going to play out, but I always knew even if I was going to sell clothes, I was going to think of it as Gucci or Dior or Fenty or whatever big brands exist, right? And that's always been the mindset. So I would say I'm only just scratching the surface, So it's a mindset thing, and you would see that when you have that mindset that positions you for certain things, you would easily be able to identify opportunities when they come, and that's been my story, just starting out.
Thank you so much. So he says, be ambitious early on, right, and be intentional. Thank you so much. I want to go over to you, Sheil. Hi. So, like, she said something about, being on the lookout for opportunities, right? So, and you work with a big tech company. How would you advise somebody who has, like, a non-tech background, like, Ifeoma, did? How would you advise them to go about trying to land that very big, you know, tech job or, role?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So when you say big, you make it sound like it's a huge, but it's not. It's not that serious. Okay. So coming from, like you said, a non-tech background into where I did, I don't think it was more about technical knowledge. It was more about soft skills, and there's something called soft skills, and I think I say a lot about that to some of our learners in our community. When you have soft skills that are very adaptable, even when you end up in fintech, even when you end up in hospitality, you would still be able to do the work because you have adaptable skills. And what are those? Readiness to learn, readiness to know what's the latest app, what's the latest platform to use, problem solving. You have to be ready. It doesn't matter, every industry, there is a need, there's a problem to solve, there is a need to be met. So once you can apply that, I believe that was what actually helped me. So coming from a very strong branding and marketing agency to be able to get into Microsoft, it was a case of, okay, so now you're here, how can you adapt what you know and what you can do into that industry? So that's literally what I would say. So problem solving, readiness to learn. So it doesn't matter whether, someone was saying earlier on so they did something in biochemistry or something and they're in tech. So it's because you're ready to learn and you're willing to go that extra mile. But if you're going to stay in the space of, oh, this is what I can do, I don't want to look out, then of course you won't be able to transition easily.
Yeah, you actually make it sound very easy.
No, it's not though. Let's not lie. It's not.
Like Adetutu, now to you, right? She said that there are transferable skills, but there are also skills you have to hard skills you actually have to take out time to learn, right? I want to ask you how did you find your place, right? How did you decide which role was for you and decide which skill you wanted to focus your time on learning, right? And for people who are finding it difficult to, decide, what's your advice for them?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I currently do marketing at Google. So my role basically is driving the growth of YouTube specifically across sub-Saharan Africa. And the reality on ground is, as you develop your career, I studied advertising in school, right? Public relations and advertising. So I did not have any tech background. But my mom used to say I had a flair for talking. I could talk for days. She used to even call me Radio Ipaja because we lived in Ipaja at that time. So immediately she come back, Mommy, this what happened, this what happened. So I had a flair for communicating in a certain way. And I transitioned from a sales role to a marketing role at Google. And it was just all about the passion I had for it. I understood what it meant to do user insights, understood storytelling, which I think is an integral part. So there is that fact of really knowing who you are, the things that give you joy and passion. Think about those jobs that, even in your sleep, you can talk about it, it gets you excited, right? You want to do things to change it. And so I found myself in that area, right, as part of it. And over time, developing the skill set to better understand how marketing works, especially in this side of the world. Marketing to users in Nigeria or even in Africa is hard. You guys are tough, right? So imagine trying to get people who are data constrained to think about YouTube and the value of YouTube, right? Thinking about, how you optimize your mobile phone for it, how you, as a creator, make money on the platform. So it's quite hard. But over time, understanding the users, their pain points, their needs, their interests, their passion, sort of helped cultivate those skill sets. So I'd say first and foremost, make sure that it's something you're really passionate about. There are certain things that people see in you that you don't see in yourself. They're always telling you, you're super creative in this area, or you're good in this, right? There are skills that I think you should sort of harness and tap more into. Yeah.
Thank you so much. You can hold that. Okay. So before I ask this question, I want to ask everyone, if you know Karimane, please put your hands up. We talk about skills, hard skills, soft skills. There's something that has become very important right now, in our time and age, with regards to that affects what kind of opportunities you actually get, and that is actually personal branding. And Corona here has a very, 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 very strong
Thank you.
personal brand. So I want to ask, how did you go about building this brand, and how has it influenced your journey so far? You used to be in the media, and now you're co-founder of an actual tech startup. So like, how did you start building your personal brand, and how has it influenced your journey so far? And also, what's your advice to anybody who wants to build a relevant brand like that would be useful, valuable for their journey in tech?
Okay. So let me start with how did I develop my personal brand? As what? Because I'm many things. As me. As Koromane. Okay, let me start with, I think my name plays a big part in my personal brand. So I've had people tell me my name doesn't sound Nigerian. It is Nigerian. It's Ijo from Bayelsa State. And my name means I have left my footsteps behind. So from a very young age, it was imbued in me that I would have some sort of legacy, but I wasn't sure how it would pan out, right? But I went into every endeavor, whether it was school, whether it was an internship, keeping my name in mind. So let's just put that to the side. Now, in terms of developing my personal brand, I guess let me make it relevant to this industry. I would say that it started at my first job in the industry, which was at Flutterwave. When I joined Flutterwave, because I joined the company at an early stage, I had the unique opportunity to develop the company's brand alongside my brand. I oversaw the company's brand for 2 years on my own. Every tweet, every LinkedIn post, every speaking engagement, I handled that. So I think that the 2 years that I spent doing that, I also spent it developing my network. So a lot of the people that I met in 2016 professionally, I developed that network over the course of the last, I would say, like 7 years. And then I developed my brand as a poet, as a performing artist, all the way back in college, and then I just continued to ride that wave even after I moved back to Nigeria. Then I developed my personal brand as a brand manager and a comms person by writing, by speaking at events. Then it just goes on and on. So I think that with each career opportunity, I took it as a chance to add on a little bit more to my personal brand. So it's kind of hard. I don't box myself in when it comes to my brand. I am many things, and then I am one person, Koromane. What was the other question you asked? How would you
advise anybody here who wants to go about building theirs?
Your own personal brand. Okay, so the first thing I would say is you need to find something, and when I say something, it can be multiple things, but let's just start with one thing. You need to start with one thing that is unique about you. And it sounds, I mean, you guys have heard this so many times, right? Like barf, but it's actually true. Like, there has to be something about you that separates you from everybody else, and every single person in this room has something unique about them. And if you're rolling your eyes like, no, I don't, she doesn't really know me, believe me. And someone did say it on this panel, there are things about you that you don't see that your friends see about you, right? So when there's a specific thing that they keep mentioning about you, you should pay attention to it, even if it doesn't feel real to you. The second thing I would say is find your niche. Everybody has, you have to find, how do I say it? The sky is big enough for everybody, yes, but because of social media, everything always feels crowded at the same time. So you need to find your niche. If you're a product designer, what kind of product designer do you want to be? So, for example, my girl Mitch, she has this YouTube series now called Lekki to London. Mitch started that series just recently, but Mitch has been in this design game. We actually worked at Flutterwave together in 2017, so she's been in it for a long time. Now, what is unique about Mitch's brand is that she has designer bay. That's a niche right there, right? So does this mean that Mitch is cutting out guys in the design world? No, but she's saying that I have taken on this designer bay brand, and it belongs to me. That's her niche. The third thing I'm going to say is you need to be confident about the thing that you're good at. Don't let nobody tell you differently. If you're not confident about what you're good at, people can smell your fear, your insecurity from a mile away. If you need to look in the mirror every day and be like, my name is Sheon, and this is what I can do well, and I'm a bad whatever, say it to yourself, and then you need to go out and then take on whatever it is that you're doing with that mentality. So I'll say those three things. Thank you.
You
Yeah,
see?
that's a
Yeah,
good word.
it's a
Yeah,
really
thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. You really emphasized, individuality, and that's a really great point. But on the other side, we know that the tech ecosystem, right? Like that's really important to develop your personal brand. But when it comes to like the ecosystem, we have we understand that it runs on community, right? So it thrives on community and collaboration. For example, the team that put this together, they had to come together and work to make this magic happen. And different other big things, right? They take a lot of people. So I want to ask you, Ifama, right? Personally, how has community collaboration helped your journey here so far? How did you find your community? How did you embed yourself into that community? And what kind of strategies do you think that anybody here that should use to try and make it work for them?
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is by nature, like there's so many communities, and the problem is a lot of times we try to fit in everywhere, and it's actually not possible. Like it's exhausting. Even something as little as being in so many WhatsApp groups giving you like professional advice on every single thing. So you have to find the communities that actually work for you. So even as an example here now, there's like 5 of us speaking. There's that tendency or urge to want to come and connect with 5 of us, but like you don't have to. Like find the one person here who has a story that is relevant to what you want to do. Maybe the person that even things they were not able to share on this panel, for example, just one thing you pick out and, let that be what you try to target. So which leads me to my other point about being targeted. You have to know what exactly you want. You have to know like who are the people that you want to interact with. You have to know yourself and like what you're actually looking out for and be targeted. It's just like a principle in sales. If you're trying to find your customers, like you have to target your ads, you have to target your outreaches to the people that will actually pay, right? And then something else is being a person of value. More often than not, you might not always find people that are willing to help just by asking them, right? So it's like going back to the things that make you different. What are the things you can do really well? So try to position yourself in a way that you can be helpful to people, right? If you're a good writer or you're someone who is really like organized, and you're trying to, you can start out like being an assistant. I've seen people who have gone from being like assistants to product something because they're just, like Shemu mentioned, those soft skills that they're there, right? It's not only to write code and see the code reflect. It's like you have to actually have those skills that, like Shemu mentioned again, you can transfer to logistics, you can transfer to fintech. So I would say one, don't try to be a part of everything. It's probably going to exhaust you and give you that false sense of rejection, like, oh, people are rejecting me, when really you're going for the wrong, like, communities. The second thing is being targeted, like, what are the kind of opportunities you want? And then if you feel like there are not communities that reflect who you are, I'm the kind of person to create my own community, right? So you can start your own thing out if you feel like, okay, maybe there are some communities that are too crowded for you to join. Even if it's similar, right? You might feel like, oh, there's already 5,000 members here or 5,000 people here. I have social anxiety, so it's hard for me to come and connect. You can create your own community. You can start out doing the things that you like and gathering people. I think I was telling one of my friends that if I could bring people here into a room to talk to, there's nothing I cannot sell, right? So it's a very powerful thing to have people that always listen to what you're willing to say. For me personally, now narrowing it down to my own personal journey, I just built a lot of social capital. And the thing that helps me is dressing well. Like, once people see you and you look good, they want to talk to you. They want to take pictures. So you probably want to use that as your own strategy if that's the kind of person you are. Like, having a background in fashion, I don't feel like there's anywhere I would go to that I'm overdressed. There's nothing like overdressing in my own world, right? Like, I just do what I want to do. And I find that that attracts a lot of people. So you build your social capital. Social media as well is a really good tool these days. So if you're that kind of person who can create asynchronously with the work you're doing. So sharing your story, sharing your journey. TikTok is a very good, I don't use it, but like I heard it's a very good tool these days. Twitter as well, and not positioning as a thought leader. There's like a difference. It's just sharing your journey, like your unique experiences, your unique stories. Before you know it, someone has retweeted something that has retweeted that thing, and like people, I remember like starting out in my first company, I didn't know what I was doing per se, but every time I had to DM someone, the fact that I had like a reasonable amount of followers, it made them like open up their like DMs to me and like give me responses. So those are things you also want to take into account, but not at the expense of the actual work. So it's like finding what works for you at every point, and just like doing it. So I know that there are also people that I have just outrightly DM'd, like, bros, how far I want to be your friend. Like, I'm not asking you for a job. I remember someone who is my really good friend now, Kelvin, of Bumper, like I just DM'd him, like I knew when I wanted to get into tech that I would need to know some people who could just like help me, and I did that. I'm not saying do that to everybody, but like you want to be targeted once again, like I mentioned, and hopefully you find what works for you.
Thank you so much. You bring me to a very important point that I want to ask Seung about, networking with people, right? Collaboration, networking, they're very key to success anywhere, even in tech here. So what advice do you have for women? Because like the tech ecosystem is full of men. It can be quite tricky trying to network with men and work with men. So what advice do you have for women in tech who are looking to build professional relationships and even who are looking for mentors in tech to advance their careers?
Okay, I'm not going to say anything new or anything that nobody has not said here or earlier today. And I think I'll just try and wrap it up in 5 things. One is you need to understand where you are on your journey. Not all of us, in fact, I'm sure everyone here, we're not on the same journey. So the first thing is you need to find out where you are on your journey. Are you a young professional? Is this your first year in your job? Or have you never worked before? Have you just graduated? Is it your second year? Are you 5 years into your professional life? Like, where exactly are you? Once you're able to be honest with yourself, because nowadays people like to lie to themselves. I can do this, I know it, I can do it, and all of that. Once you're able to be honest with yourself and identify where you are, it will help you with the second one. And the second one is, again, just to buttress what you said, community. We all want to be at the same person you find at Shecodeafrica, you find them at ALX, you find them at Google, you find them in a Microsoft community, you find them, you're going to get overwhelmed, right? And then at some point, you're actually going to feel like, I don't know who mentioned that, like rejection, because you can't be good at Microsoft and then be good at Google 100%, then be badass at ALX. It's not, well, maybe it's possible, I don't know, but again, I'm saying from my own opinion, I don't think it's possible. But, which leads to number 2. Understanding where you are would help you to identify what community you should be joining. Because there's a community for where you are, that phase of your career, that phase of knowledge that you need. Because it's not the same knowledge that I needed 2 years ago. It's not the same thing that I need now. I'm seeking something else. So you need to find out the knowledge. Again, let me take that back. So finding out where you are currently would help you to know what community and where you should be, who you should be speaking to, whose DM you should be sending DM to. You can't be sending a DM to someone that is a CEO when you're still an executive or an intern or a fellow. Like the person just be like, nah, you're going to be a waste of my time, right? But when you are able to find out where you are and identify that, you know the right community you should join, which leads to number 3. What skills do you need? So yes, your friend would say, oh, you're very good at this. But then, if you're interning somewhere or you're working somewhere, there's a certain feedback that your line manager is giving you or your lecturers have given you. They're telling you, oh, every time you send an email, there's a typo. Or you're not good at presentation. But then you're taking it away, you're sulking, you're angry because somebody has told you you're so good at it. But then the person that actually has a valuable feedback or that is affecting their ROI and business objectives is able to tell you, nah, this is not standard. You're not taking that feedback in to be like, okay, you know what? Let's even step away from they hate me, it's this toxic environment, the word that we like to use nowadays. And, oh, they're not just getting what I'm doing or they're not just getting what I'm saying. Why don't you just take a step back and be like, okay, Maybe it is me that is typing the wrong thing and I'm not using Grammarly, or I'm not even doing spell check and just wanting to send the email quickly. And then I'm being given this certain feedback and I'm not working on it. So do you want to take a step back as well to find out what exactly is it that I'm being told that is wrong? That would also help you to know who you should find as a mentor. That would also help you to know what communities you should be at. That would also help you to know what skills is it that you need to get better at. Do you need to get better at speaking? I can tell you for a fact, 10 years ago, I could not hold a mic and speak to everyone like this. Nobody will ever believe that, but that's the fact. I'm sure my manager then 10 years would be like, yeah, that girl, she can hold the mic. Are you serious? I couldn't. But what did I do? When I kept getting feedback that you can't stand in front of a client and even pitch a document, I'm like, I don't understand. The person that is pitching, do they have two heads? So what did I do? I took a step back, took those feedback on board, and I went to find out Toastmasters. Because Toastmasters helps you with presentation. They help you to speak better. They help you to know what is pause and all of that. But if you don't know what Toastmasters, you can Google it, right? So I took that step back, and I went to learn it. And I went to even read brighter grammar, because at some point as well, you see that typo, somebody who told me to, I know I speak well, but sometimes my emails are just everywhere because I'm trying to communicate so many things in one email. I took that step back. At what age? I went to buy brighter grammar, and I learned. But what we find nowadays is because you believe, and it's good to believe, you believe you're good at something, but then someone is telling you and giving you a certain feedback. Sometimes, yes, it's to pull you down and make you, fearful and feel like, you're not good enough, yes. But sometimes as well, for you, take a step back and find out what that constant feedback is and find out the platforms and the right person to follow. Look, you cannot be busy. It's recorded, so I can't even mention it. You can't be following some certain celebrity that would not help you on your tech journey when you know the right people you should be following. So you can't be busy singing, when they are singing top 10 music, it's not you they should be finding there. You should be found in the space where if you're a coder or if you're a data analytics person, that is where they should be finding you, because that is where you are on your journey. It is a phase. You're going to pass it. There's going to be a time when some community will just be like, in fact, you'll be the one sending an email to Shecode to say, I'm ready to mentor. Who can I mentor? Because you've gone past that, right? And I'll move on to number 4, which I think I've forgotten. But anyway, number 4 again is your network is your net worth. So, and I'll bring that to LinkedIn. A lot of us do amazing things, but we don't talk about them. And then earlier, one of the speakers talked about imposter syndrome. A number of you have put, if I ask now, right, and say, how many people have put a picture of them at Shecode on Instagram or TikTok? Oh, I'm sure many hands will go up. But if I was to ask, how many people have put it up on LinkedIn? Okay, I see those hands. Hold on. You saw those hands, Abby. Let's ask. Instagram, how many people? Don't be shy, because I've said it now. Now I'm like, we know what she's saying, right? But you should be able to talk about things more. Don't be shy. Don't be thrown out of LinkedIn, especially because, somebody else is writing 20 lines. You're like, who will see my own 2 lines? That's not your own business. Talk about the things you're doing. Talk about the achievements you're getting when you go for this kind of event. The speakers that come to speak, what were the 2 or 3 things you took away from it? Talk about the trainings, the learnings, the skills you're getting. Talk about them, because that is what a technical recruiter will be looking for. You can't finish a program at maybe Shecode or ALX and then just say, I can code. So what have you been doing for the past 12 months? Where's the evidence? What can we see? Where can we reference it? That is what you should use your LinkedIn for. So to come back to your questions, with just a few points of mine, I hope I've been able to help you.
Thank you so much. Now, our last question, and with that, we'll round up our session. It goes to our day 2, right? There's the tech ecosystem is, is what's typical is innovation, disruption, right? One moment it's Web3, it's AI. So how would you advise professionals to approach the skill of being adaptable? How have you done it, and how do you think they should? And with that, we'll end up this.
Okay. So there's always new and emerging technologies coming out, and it's very hard to catch up. One thing that is very important is, I think the panelist here is really awesome. They talked about collaboration and being intentional around finding yourself in cultures that foster collaboration and innovation, right? You mentioned adaptability, the ability to, what is the trend? How can I begin to learn them, right? I know somebody spoke about AI and said, would AI take your jobs? And people said no. There are some jobs that AI will take, let's be frank, right? Organizations are slowing down employment radically because what they're finding is there's virtual assistants, there's things that are doing, there's a lot of things that technology is enabling right now, and so they continue to slow down technology. Slow down employment. If you want to continue to be relevant, you have to check what are the trends that are happening, how do I augment my skill to suit the trends, right? Understand trends that are happening, trends that are potentially emerging. We see Gen AI, we see ChatGPT. There's all of those things that are coming. Even Google is constantly innovating because we also don't, as a company, want to be redundant. You want to continue to keep users in the space. From a career standpoint, I find that with my current role, and even within the organization, you're always making sure that, firstly, you're staying in touch, you're learning new skills, going for the right training, putting your hands up to work on projects and initiatives. There are initiatives at Google where they're saying, who wants to do AI? I don't know what they're doing there, but my hand is up. Right? Like, let me go and find out so that I would see how it will enhance the job that I'm currently doing and even make me more employable, right? Make me at least a superstar within the organization. So there is that intentional part of finding out what's happening, being very collaborative, find opportunities to work on projects that gives you exposure, but also make sure you're visible within companies, right? Make sure you're visible. I love what you're saying about social media and LinkedIn. Let people know what you have or what you're learning and use those skill sets to build networking. I found my job through referrals, right? And it was just some guy that I met years ago who then suddenly remembers me and says, come, there's a job in this company, right? How do people perceive you? Right, in terms of your skill set. So when there are opportunities in the future, your name is being called in places you're not even present, right? So I would say, a long and short, is that leverage the opportunity for technology. I am a product of technology. I use the internet all the time. To your point, Googling shit, sorry, pardon my French, right? Googling things all day long because the power that lies in there. You can learn, you can adapt, you can collaborate, you can find friends, you can reach out to people, wear DM, you can actually just maximize technology in ways never imagined. And I'm hoping that all of you would make the best of today and the opportunity to continue to adapt and innovate. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And with that, we end our session. Thank you, speakers.